last year's. I bring that up because it was kind of interesting. Several weeks after the vote, one commissioner I ran into and was pointed out to me that they didn't realize that there was that much opposition to it because they had not gotten feedback. The thing I would like to applaud as well as the Planning Commission and the council is the citizens that got engaged and let you know, because as I've told you at several council meetings, y'all can only do as well as constituents let you know. So you got a good turnout tonight. You had a real good turnout at the Planning Commission. So hopefully we can keep people engaged, but I think they deserve an applause too. So.
Okay. Lynn Ingram. Okay. And Jason Thatcher. And if you would, for the record, state your name and address.
My name is Jason Thatcher. I'm an associate professor at Clemson University. I live at 314 Sycamore Drive. I really appreciate this vote, and I just wanted to ask you, the next time something like this comes along, if you could ask for 3 additional pieces of information from the analyst. I have a master's in public administration. This is something that we routinely did in my coursework at the ASCII School of Florida State. The first thing is that when I read this proposal, it came across as if it were revenue neutral, when in fact it likely is not. Its position is revenue neutral in the sense that it doesn't place additional demands on schools. However, what it does do, it also excludes commercial uses of that property. And it's unclear to me as to exactly how that would affect future tax revenue. And in the current period that we're in, and for the future development of the Mauldin area, it struck me as if this area is right across from other commercial properties. And if you want to create a buzz, you need to have properties co-located, especially restaurants such as Mutt's, next to something else. And there's a lot of research in the marketing literature that shows you put restaurants next to each other, more people come to them. So we'd be excluding potentially revenue that could affect our schools, even though we're not creating more children to go to our schools. And that really troubled me. Another point that troubled me was it mentioned that they had access to Greenville County sewer systems and whatnot. But the question I had as I read that, just because you connect something to the sewer system doesn't mean you're paying for the connection and the additional demand in utilities. And I wondered, I don't know how the process works in our particular city. I've only been here 4 years. But a question that I was struck by was, what is this going to cost in terms of maintaining 97 residential units plus? And that could be substantially more than the strength of the system by commercial use. And that just struck me as a question that an analyst who is more formally trained in this might want to ask. And then the final question I had, and this is relatively trivial, but it's a question that really struck me. As I went through it, I noticed that they had 124 bedrooms proposed, but only 108 parking spaces. And now, that may sound silly, but for those of us that live in the neighborhood surrounding it, the question I found myself asking is, where does their overflow parking go? Will it end up on the sides of our streets, or will it end up on Butler Road, or will it end up in Mutt's? And that seems somewhat problematic to me. So while I really appreciate the vote, hopefully next time this comes around, because my guess is something like this will pop up again, that these kind of questions will be answered by the developer before submitting the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Report from City Administrator. Mr. Eubank.
Thank you, Mayor Godby, members of council. I wanted to report on a few things going on briefly. We had our executive director report on the Cultural Center Board, a good meeting on April 8th. We did receive the list of approved activities and look forward to promoting progress on that front as we meet later this evening on the topic. The Highway 276 Main Street project was presented and very well received publicly in January. Council endorsed that project at the February meeting, following which the city applied to the Sacramento Department of Transportation to draw down the transportation enhancement funds so that we can begin to get some construction drawings completed and ultimately get some implementation done. We hope to hear from DOT by the end of this month or the early part of next month, and I'll certainly keep you posted on the progress with that project as we move forward. Very briefly on Holland Road, had a very positive public meeting on Thursday night concerning the road widening of Holland Road. A number of folks in that area showed up there. John Gardner facilitated that meeting and is going to be working with the design firm, Freeland and Kaufman, on a turning lane issue. But again, overall, that project is proceeding nicely. Just as a reminder, We have leveraged 3 funding sources to pay for that. The County Seafund Committee, the State Department of Commerce, and utility tax credits, all 3 have committed $150,000 each. We aim to stay on budget with that project, and the goal is to complete the work of about a 1,500-foot section before school starts in August. This is associated with the job creation for Samsung, and also, of course, that impacts Mauldin Elementary School, Mauldin Middle School, so we're going to aim to get the project completed by the time school starts in August. Excuse me. A couple of dates to mention. The Garden Club's annual spring fling is this Saturday. Put that on your calendars. I know Cindy will always keep us reminded of that as well, and we will have it up on the website, the local government access channel. Also, the National Day of Prayer will be hosted in front of City Hall again this year on May the 5th at noon. And again, we'll advertise and get the word out for that. Planning for that event is already underway, and of course, city staff will do what we need to do to make sure we're set up and ready to go there. You have information on the train exhibit next month provided to you in your council packets. Mr. Black and Mayor Godby, I know y'all have been a part of the planning for that, and I know our Chamber's Executive Director is hoping for an even bigger turnout this year, and with it being another day, we very well may have it. It was a huge success last year. Looking forward to that event again next month. Finally, just a report on our finances. We do have our revenues coming in now for both property taxes and for business license fees. And I can tell you at this point, we're looking very solid. We're a little bit ahead of where we were this time last year. Things are looking good at this point. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that and give you that analysis that I started providing about 4 months ago on our revenues. Our hospitality and accommodations tax revenues this past month were down. We are down for the year compared to last year, so we're going to be a little under with that line. We're going to have to keep a close eye on that. But again, hospitality and accommodations tax revenues are down. Our fuel budget is back in line, stayed in line this month. We actually brought it back in line last month. That's due to the decreased cost of fuel, but also I want to recognize Chief Turner and his staff. They have a station today where we'll find out where to get gas the cheapest and spread the word. And those are some cost-saving measures that's helping us keep these expenses down. Again, to conclude with our budget, we're in good shape. We're solid this year. We're going to have to keep an eye on some of the revenues, but the main revenues are looking very good this year compared to last year and compared to the current budget. Expenditures are under through 9 months, through 3/4 of the fiscal year. We're keeping those expenditures down. I do expect that we're going to continue to work hard to keep them down. I do want to point out, as I have the past few months, we're going to be incurring a cost for sewer rehab that is budgeted. It's a big dollar line item. We approved almost $200,000 last month for that. Also, in another month or so, we'll get underway with our paving for this year. So those are budgeted items. We will stay on budget with what we do, but we will have some other expenses coming up. But here again, overall, we're in good shape expense-wise. If there's any questions or comments, I'll do my best to answer.
Mr. Reynolds.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Trey, don't we usually have a proclamation for the National Day of Prayer?
Yes, we do. It's read for that event, and we can certainly read it again. I think at an upcoming maybe committee meeting, I think is 2 days before that. I haven't received one yet from Mr. Reynolds, but we do get one annually and read.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions for Mr. Eubanks? I would, I'm serving as an elementary school
Response time,